who makes the leap this year? And it could be the rookie going into the second year. It could just be a veteran. It could be someone they signed, whatever, that you think like, we're going to be talking about this guy more than most people think for the things that he's doing on the football field in a positive direction.
Okay, so there's an answer that I think will be a common answer, or people want to be a common answer, that I'm not going to use. Okay. And I would say that's Kyle Williams. I think in the best case scenario world, and you can probably talk yourself into it, you brought in Romeo Doubs, you brought in A.J. Brown. Kyle Williams can kind of just fit in the background and maybe take advantage of his speed and deep ball, all those things. I think they want him to be that. I'm not ready to say he's ready to do that.
I'm not either.
And then at that same position, I'm done saying, and I think you probably know where I'm going, I'm done saying the name Pop Douglas. Did that 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Oh, Pop Douglas, slot receiver, offense, blah, 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 100 catches. Get the bleep out of here. That's not Pop Douglas.
No.
So I went to the defensive side of the ball, and I look at opportunity. And I would argue there is a big opportunity at one specific position where the team is very much undermanned potentially. And that is the edge of the defense, the edge position, pass rusher. And a guy I fell in love with, and you know I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for physique. You built like something, it catches my eye. Hey, A.J. Brown did it to me a few years ago on the practice field, and I was like, that dude's a wide receiver? Jesus, he's bigger than anybody on this whole team. Elijah Ponder. I think Elijah Ponder, who I believe had 4 sacks a year ago, due to pure opportunity. And maybe that changes. I know your boy Dan Graziano throws out like maybe Max Crosby would make sense for the Patriots once he proves he's healthy midseason, whatever. And that changes everything. Now all of a sudden you got.
I like how Graziani's my boy. Is that just because he's Italian?
I don't know. It just felt like I wanted to say it. So you take it however you want to take it.
Fine.
So I think Elijah Ponder is a guy that showed a little spark, a little athleticism. I think Mike Vrabel and the defensive staff likes him in the way that a lot of coaches like guys that work their way up, prove themselves, fight the good fight, play special teams, develop all of that. So I think Elijah Ponder is a guy that could be a sneaky candidate to, at least say double the production, be an 8-sack guy. And if you're an 8-sack guy in New England, could make you famous. Rob Ninkovich lived off it for years. Rolled out of bed with 8 sacks. Wasn't getting you 10, wasn't going to fall short at 6, 8 sacks. So if Elijah Ponder could get 8 sacks, who knows? Maybe he'll be on the radio and be a longtime Patriot in the future. So I'm going with Elijah Ponder.
There has been a lot of hype around Elijah Ponder. I wrote about him a few weeks ago. Mike Smith, who does a terrific job with their outside linebackers, edge rushers, couldn't have been more effusive in his praise of Ponder, talking about, the athleticism, that now he is seeing the game. The game has slowed down. You've already played a year. You've proven that you can be in this league. And now you're working on some things. He said there were some reps this spring that were just like slack jaw, like, oh my, did you see what he just did? Now, granted, when we're there and we're watching them in shorts, again, a lot of stuff gets made up or blown up, I should say. There's a narrative because I got to come away with some takeaways from this one practice that we get to see. And we only got to see 5 during the course of the entire spring of OTAs and mandatory minicamp, one of which was a legitimate walkthrough where I don't think anybody was sweating except for the fact that it was 97 degrees outside, but there was not sweating from actual work. But there has been a ton of hype. And the cynic in me.
Oh, I hate it.
Well, the cynic in me says, how much of this is about Gabe Akis? Of course, the second-round pick who remains unsigned, who had a quote-unquote procedure. We found out it was on the knee, and didn't do any on-field work. And I know that some, my boss included, were like, oh, it's not, the Patriots don't think it's a big deal. Like, it's not a big thing. I've heard otherwise, and I'm not talking about the injury. I'm just talking about this is not a good first impression. And I don't know whether the anger is at the player or the anger is at the agent, but there is some anger there. And as you said, if he gets on the field and starts producing, everybody will forget it. But they drafted him in the second round to be a part of this defense, I believe, this year. And I've heard people say, he's going to be lucky if he's the 5th pass rusher, because Braden Swinson came back and he looks good. I'm like, Braden Swinson was a 5th round pick who got cut last year. And he's remade his body a little bit. So maybe He can actually look like an NFL player this year, but he didn't play like one last year. I believe Akis is supposed to be part of the plan at the edge position sooner rather than later. And maybe to me, I would just, the radar goes off like, man, I'm hearing a lot about, I've heard it from Vrabel. I heard it from Zach Core. I heard it from Mike Smith. Like, okay, it could be true. He clearly, it is his second year. He looks better, like all these things. Or could this just be like, all right, man, we'll play Elijah Ponder if Gabe Akis wants to fart around and not, be ready to go when the time comes and have missed valuable time this year. And then we're the geniuses because we signed him as a UDFA last year. And we got a second rounder that we can keep in the holster for a while until he gets ready. So that's just the cynic in me. I always do wonder if that was part of the elevation of Elijah Ponder at this point.
Yeah, I don't dismiss any of that. I mean, we've all seen different, Chad Jackson telling us how smart he is and good he is before he even steps on a practice field, all of that. So I think teams manipulate messages and motivations and all of those things. And somebody, I mean, we're going to get to some other questions about the defense later on, but like somebody almost feels like they have to step up there or if this team is going to be, and they will have the benefit of theoretically a good group behind them. So I'm not saying Ponder turns into Jason Taylor 2.0 game wrecker. He may end up in the 8-sack range because Christian Gonzalez and company are just locking everybody down back there. Or, everybody and their brother is double teaming Milton Williams and Christian Barmore. And he's just kind of, when the guy goes, oh my God, there's 600 pounds of man running right up the middle. I'm going to the outside. I don't care who's out there. I'd rather they hit me than those guys. So it's almost as much for me an opportunistic thing. And then we'll get into it. I actually don't think there's that many candidates on this roster. And that will tie into our conversation for the next question. And also I will go back to very simply, he looks like a stud. He's ripped, jacked. I like my football players look like that.
Yeah. You know who honestly impressed the hell out of me just from a physique standpoint? And I have no idea if he's good at football. He was kicked around here last year. Amari Gaynor. He looks like he literally was carved out of marble. Long arms. Every muscle has muscle on it. Like you go, if you like, that's a football player. And I don't know if he can play, but I know he looks like one. For me, who makes the leap, and he was pretty good, especially over the second half of last year, and this is going to be a second-year player, it's Craig Woodson. I think that the addition of Bayard is going to put Craig Woodson in the box almost exclusively. Ish. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we're doing the split safety. Oh, it's on your side. He's going to be in the box. You're in. No, I think most of this is Bayard. You're going to be the deep safety. Woodson, you're going to be closer to the box. And I think the physicality with which he plays, the aggressiveness, I think good sense in blitzing and finding openings last year, again, as they morphed into that blitzing team in the second half of the season. I think that he is going to take a step forward where we might be talking about him as a Pro Bowl caliber player. And I've railed against the Pro Bowl, but when I say someone's a Pro Bowl caliber player, to me, that means they're a good player that people are going to take notice of around the league. We can get into the stupid machinations of the Pro Bowl. And, Drake May was a Pro Bowler in his rookie year, and he didn't have any business being a Pro Bowler. Mac Jones was the 18th alternate, and he went to a Pro Bowl. Like, Brandon Merriweather was a Pro Bowler for a couple of years, like whatever. But I'm talking about like this guy is deserving of being considered one of the better box safeties in the league. I think he's capable of that. Super smart. And one of the things that I think about him too in terms of growth is the ability to play the ball in the air. He gave up a fair amount of touchdowns last year, but as the season went on, you're like, man, but he was right there. Vrabel said it. I think it was a Tampa Bay game. He gave up a touchdown and Vrabel like turned to Zach and was like, Can I bitch him out? Was he out of position? He's like, no, literally he was like right there. So it's just a little bit more confidence on playing the ball in the air. And I think he can learn that. And if he does, then that's how he elevates.
Yeah, I think he's a good selection. First of all, for the obvious reason, a second-year player who played, like, the experience, the year two jump, that whole thing. Because I was a little dubious of him last year in the evolution of the safety position when you were moving on from the veteran guys and
Mhm.
people were talking up the eraser and how smart he is and all these various things. And then you watch the way in which he handled himself, and kind of most of it was pretty accurate and most of it
Yeah.
was spot on. And so if you mix smart, conscientious, experienced, hardworking, and now you put a veteran next to him, and
Yep.
and also just stabilize it from his perspective in terms of I'm not a rookie anymore, and I'm not also stabilize it in terms of it was a weird position last year where, like, we're bitching on the radio about how you're building a football team and you're going to tell me Jabril Peppers and Kyle Duggar aren't two of your better football blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So it's just a stable position, and if his role gets maybe streamlined a little bit, a smart guy, streamlined role, good talent around him, year two youthful jump, you're right. He's probably one of the better candidates on the roster to have that opportunity. And I did think he evolved as the season went on. I thought he was evolving into a better player,
Yep.
like a guy that I was watching, caring about, expecting to make some plays more than make mistakes in the second half of the season. I like it. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
Andy Hart's stamp of approval.
Nice. You know what would be great for the Patriots to take the next step would be Will Campbell. That would be great for the Patriots. To
Yeah.
be not, and I said it. I thought before the injury he was fine, probably like middle of the road left tackle, which, okay, maybe a little bit better than I thought he would be. Then obviously we know what happened after the injury and the postseason. You see him working out now with the Lane Johnson types, the Deion Dawkins, and you're like, one of these guys doesn't fit from a body type perspective at that position. And I know Lane's a right tackle, but Lane could play any position. He's freaking one of the best linemen in the last 25 years. And I just, he was the number 4 overall pick. And I said it when they drafted him. And I had arguments with people about Armand Membu. And I said, I want to pick the guy that I think is going to be an all-pro caliber player. And I thought Membu more likely to be an all-pro caliber player. And by the way, he's already getting some all-pro buzz here going into his second season versus Will. We'll see. But if Will could take a jump, that would be huge for them. Then Lomu can just focus on right tackle. And you've got your replacement for Morgan Moses. And you've got 2 tackles that you can have under contract for a good long time, which it's not easy to do in this league. But we'll see how that works. Hey folks, PrizePicks is now an official daily fantasy partner of the NBA, and what a summer we have ahead of us. Not with the NBA, but with so many other sports, big tournaments in tennis, in golf. You've got baseball season, you got the WNBA. It's all happening. Of course, you can combine different sports. You just choose more or less on player projections. Fantastic. Involved with it all the time. And of course, you have the 2026 World Cup. The entire summer of soccer is on PrizePicks, all 48 countries, every matchup. And if you rep your side during the tournament on PrizePicks, you could win a trip to the final in New York. It's the biggest tournament ever. It's been an awesome tournament, which means there's more opportunities to cash in while you root for your favorite national sides and global soccer stars. Download the app today for PrizePicks. Use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today. Use the code CLNS to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineups all summer long on PrizePicks, America's #1 sports pick app.